What's up guys, XB here, your resident guy with a tie. So, last video, which was 2 weeks ago, I said I was going to drop a Joker review. Unfortunately, with my work schedule and everything, I did not get a chance to do that video. I did see the Joker on October 4th, Thursday, October 4th. Now, before I get into the video though, I would like for you guys to please subscribe, share this video. I'm trying to start out the channel, and if you actually like this content and you want to help contribute, I started a Patreon page. So if you go to patreon.com/xbskaggs, I'm going to put a link down in the description, and also probably right about here somewhere. You can go to that and help support the channel. I've got a couple different tiers that are very affordable for everyone. But let's get into the video. Okay, so my initial reaction to this movie was that it was going to be a dark and gritty origin story for the Joker, which the Joker I have right now. If you have not seen the Joker, which I don't know if you haven't, please stop this video and go and see that movie first. There will be a ton of spoilers in this video. Are you still here? Okay, good. Now I know that some critics and the directors of the movie said that this is not part of the DCEU. It really isn't. This movie is very dark and very gritty and very dirty. Not dirty in the sensual sense of the word, but dirty as in like Gotham is just dirty. This whole movie, when I got home, I had to take a shower afterward. I felt exposed, I guess, vulnerable. It's weird for a movie to leave you feeling like that, but it's true. I also didn't know what was real and what was not real. There's a couple different scenes, and if you've watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's a couple different scenes where Arthur Fleck, played by Joaquin Phoenix, imagines his relationship with this woman. You don't know until towards the very end that it is imagined, when Arthur ends up in his apartment and she's kind of like, oh, what are you doing here? Then you start to question, well, what's real and what's just in his imagination, because there's also another scene early on in the movie that he imagines himself, and it's very clear that it's just an imagination. In Robert De Niro's characters on his talk show, and so you're just left wondering. So my initial reaction, before I get into theories and what I think, my initial reaction for this movie is, if you're expecting big comic book movie with Batman and Cape Crusaders and stuff like that, this is not the movie for you. Honestly, they could have taken out Batman and the whole DC side of it, comic book stuff, and they just left it as its own movie, and it honestly would have held up on its own. It's that good of a movie. I honestly think that Joaquin Phoenix should win an Oscar for Best Performance. He was hands down the greatest. I'm going to give this movie 10 out of 10 ties. It's really great. Please, if you have not gone to see it, please go and see it. I'm actually probably going to go and see it a second time to see things that I didn't see before upon first viewing. Now to get into the theory side of it. So if you've watched the movie, towards the end of the movie, he is suddenly handcuffed in a hospital, a white hospital, and he's sitting in front of a social worker, and you see a young Bruce Wayne there, standing there with his dead parents, and so you're left to wonder, was that whole thing in his imagination? I actually like to think that it was. That this man, Arthur Fleck, imagined this whole thing, because if you go back to the Killing Joke, that's the closest comic that we get to a Joker origin story. The Joker, it says in that comic that he would rather his origin be multiple choice. So for him to make up that story, that's a story that he may tell, but that may not that may be not what really happens. I also like to think that if my theory is not true, that the whole thing was made up in his mind, that any time he had moments of happiness in his life, that was fake. So the relationship, standing at the end on top of the cop car and smearing the smile on his face with the blood, none of that I don't think was real. I think that was all in his head. But he did descend into this madness. I think he really did kill those people, on those 3 men on the train. It's very hard to judge, to see what's real and what's not real. But that's my theory. I've got actually one of 2, that the whole thing was either made up in his mind, and at the very end we saw him. That was the real him, and that he's locked up in this insane asylum, or that any moments of happiness that he had throughout the movie was made up. So tell me, guys, tell me down in the comments what you think your theory is, and like and share if you've liked this video. Please subscribe also, and check out my Patreon, patreon.com/xbskaggs. Thank you so much for watching. Next week I'm gonna have another unboxing video. This has been XB here, your resident guy with a tie, signing off on my first movie review of The Joker.